Today I want to talk about a truth that many people don't want to hear. The world is changing, and sometimes the greatest power in the world makes the biggest mistake. That mistake, my friends, is America's. And from this mistake, India will rise. Let me break it down in 5 points. Strong, powerful, unstoppable. America's greatest strength has always been its confidence. But what happens when that confidence turns into overconfidence? This is the first and most powerful mistake that America has made, and it is the very reason why India is rising. For decades, the United States believed that its position as the #1 superpower was permanent, untouchable, and unquestionable. But the truth is, no power remains at the top forever if it stops working with the same hunger and drive that built its dominance in the first place. America became complacent, too comfortable in its success, and this opened the door for others to challenge its place in the world. And who is stepping through that door with energy, discipline, and hunger? It is India. When you look at history, every empire that grew too arrogant eventually collapsed. Rome believed it could not fall. Britain thought the sun would never set on its empire, and now America is making the same mistake. Instead of focusing on innovation, discipline, and unity, America has allowed arrogance to blind it. The country spends more time fighting within itself, divided politically, socially, and economically, than preparing for the future. This overconfidence has led to a lack of urgency, a lack of seriousness, and a belief that no matter what happens, America will always be the leader. But leadership is not a gift. It is earned every single day through hard work, vision, and sacrifice. India has understood this truth very clearly. Unlike America, India does not assume that success is permanent. India knows that it has to fight for every inch, every breakthrough, and every opportunity. This is why India is pushing harder, moving faster, and thinking bigger. While America is distracted, India is focused. While America is slowing down, India is speeding up. And this difference in attitude is shaping the future. Overconfidence has another dangerous effect. It makes you underestimate your competitors. America made the mistake of underestimating India for too long. For decades, India was seen only as a developing country, a nation of poverty and struggle. So America never imagined that India could become a serious global power. But while America slept in its comfort, India was building, growing, and preparing. India's people were working in technology, in science, in space research, in education. And now the results are visible. America's overconfidence blinded it to India's rise, and by the time it realizes the scale of India's progress, it will already be too late. Another aspect of overconfidence is the belief that others will always follow your lead. America assumed the world would always depend on it, always look up to it, always wait for its approval. America's mistake was believing that leadership was permanent. India's advantage is understanding that leadership must constantly be renewed through trust, partnerships, and results. The hunger that India has today is the same hunger that made America strong after World War II. But America has lost that fire. India, however, is just beginning. It has the drive, the discipline, and the determination to do what America once did. Overconfidence is America's weakness, and hunger is India's strength. That is why the balance of power is shifting. In the end, America's overconfidence is the very seed of India's rise. It is proof that arrogance destroys champions, while discipline creates them. And as America continues to make this mistake, India is turning every opportunity into progress, every challenge into growth, and every doubt into strength. This is how India, fueled by hunger and resilience, will rise to become the next global power. The real strength of a nation is never just in its wealth, its military, or its global influence. The true strength lies in its people, their unity, their energy, their ambition, and their ability to carry the country forward. America's mistake has been to ignore this fundamental truth. For decades, it has relied on its past achievements, on its image as the land of opportunity, on its once powerful social fabric. But over the years, America has become divided. Its people are losing that sense of unity that once made the nation unstoppable. Social tensions, political polarization, and cultural conflicts have weakened the bond that held Americans together. When the people of a nation stop moving in the same direction, that nation starts to stumble. And that is exactly what is happening to America. India, on the other hand, has realized that its people are its greatest asset. For too long, the world looked at India's population of 1.4 billion as a burden, a problem, or a challenge. But today that so-called burden is India's biggest advantage. India is the youngest major country in the world, with a massive workforce that is skilled, ambitious, and ready to seize every opportunity. Unlike America, where the population is aging and the younger generations are divided in vision, India's young people are united by ambition. They want to grow, to build, to innovate, and to lead. This population is not a weakness. It is raw energy, raw power, waiting to be channeled into the engines of progress. America once had this same energy, especially in the years after the Second World War, when millions of Americans were united by a shared vision of building the strongest nation on earth. But overconfidence and internal conflicts drained that energy. Now the U.S. struggles with division and a declining work ethic, while India is full of determination and drive. The hunger of India's youth is shaping the future of the world. They are not satisfied with small victories. They want to compete with the best, and they want to win. Consider how America has treated immigration and diversity in recent years. Once it was the world's magnet for talent, attracting people from every corner of the globe to build their dreams. But now, many of those same people are choosing India instead. Why? Because India itself is becoming the land of opportunity. The very talent that once built Silicon Valley now finds a place in Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Pune. The brainpower of India is no longer flowing out, it is building inside. America's mistake has been to take people for granted, to think that its dominance would automatically attract the best and brightest forever. But the tide is turning, and India is becoming the new center of attraction. The unity of people also determines how a nation is perceived globally. America is often seen today as fractured, fighting within itself, unable to focus outward. India, meanwhile, is learning to unify its diversity, different religions, cultures, and languages, all contributing to one identity. This unity and diversity is not just a slogan, it is the foundation of India's strength. While America loses trust abroad due to internal instability, India gains trust because of its ability to bring people together. The energy of India's people is not only in numbers but in spirit. They are resilient, used to challenges, and never afraid of hard work. When a young population has this kind of determination, it can reshape industries, economies, and geopolitics. America is slowly forgetting this truth, but India is embracing it every single day. So when we talk about global power, it is not simply about who has the biggest army or the largest economy. It is about who has the strongest people. America's mistake is losing that unity and energy, while India is using its people as the greatest source of power. That is why the balance of the world is shifting. India's 1.4 billion people are not a challenge. They are the future. And that future is moving toward global leadership. For a long time, America believed that innovation belonged only to it. Silicon Valley became a symbol of technological dominance, a place where the world's brightest minds gathered to create the future. America assumed this edge would last forever, but this is another mistake. Innovation is not a permanent possession. It is a moving force. If you stop pushing forward, someone else will overtake you. And today that someone else is India. America underestimated India's potential in science, technology, and innovation, and now India is proving to the world that it is not just a participant in the global race. It is becoming a leader. In the early years, India was mostly associated with outsourcing. American companies saw India as a cheap workforce, a place to send back-office tasks or software development. But what they failed to see was that these same engineers, coders, and scientists were gaining skills, experience, and knowledge at lightning speed. Knowledge at lightning speed. America's mistake was believing India would remain in that supporting role forever. Today, those same people are not just working on projects, they are leading them. India has become a hub for startups, artificial intelligence, fintech, and biotechnology. What once looked like a service economy is now transforming into an innovation economy. Look at the space sector. America thought it would remain the unrivaled leader with NASA at the forefront. But India's ISRO has shocked the world with achievements that are not just impressive, but cost-efficient and practical. From the Mars orbiter mission, completed at a fraction of NASA budget, to the recent Chandrayaan landing on the moon's south pole, India has shown it can achieve technological miracles with limited resources. That kind of efficiency is the mark of a future leader. While America spends billions with bureaucracy slowing progress, India finds smart, creative solutions to reach the same goals. Technology is not just about rockets and satellites. It is about shaping the daily lives of billions. In this field too, India is pushing ahead. Digital India, UPI payments, and the Aadhaar system are revolutionary innovations in governance and finance. They show how technology can transform not just industries, but entire societies. America underestimated this because it believed innovation was only about high-end technology, about billion-dollar companies building the next gadget. India, however, has shown that innovation can also mean creating systems that empower the poor, connect villages, and give access to opportunities at scale. This is the kind of innovation that creates lasting global influence. The world is also beginning to shift its view. For years, American tech giants dominated, but now many of them are being led by Indian-origin CEOs. Sundar Pichai at Google, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Arvind Krishna at IBM. These are not coincidences. They are proof of India's deep reservoir of talent. And this talent is no longer confined to working for American companies. Increasingly, Indian startups are rising, competing globally, and even challenging U.S. dominance in certain sectors. America's mistake was failing to recognize that talent is borderless. By underestimating India's capacity to innovate, it allowed India to grow silently until the world could no longer ignore it. Innovation also depends on mindset. America's mindset has grown comfortable. It relies heavily on past successes and established companies while bureaucracy and politics slow down progress. India's mindset is the opposite: lean, hungry, adaptable. Young entrepreneurs in India are not afraid to take risks, to fail, to try again. That hunger drives new ideas. That hunger is what America once had but has now lost. When we look at the future, biotechnology, quantum computing, the race is wide open. America thought it had already won. That arrogance is the mistake. India is running with full speed into these fields, investing heavily, building talent pipelines, and fostering an environment of ambition. Each step America fails to take quickly enough is an opportunity India seizes. So when the world asks who will lead the next technological revolution, the answer is becoming clearer. America is slowing down because it assumed no one could catch up. India is accelerating because it knows the world underestimated it. And this shift in innovation will decide the balance of power in the 21st century. America's mistake was complacency. India's strength is hunger, discipline, and creativity. And that is why India will rise as the global power. One of the most critical mistakes America has made in recent years is forgetting that true leadership is not about domination. It's about trust. For decades, the United States held the position of global leader not only because of its economic and military power, but also because other nations believed in it. They trusted its vision, its promises, and its partnerships. But over time, America allowed arrogance and self-interest to replace fairness and balance. It began to act more like a boss than a partner. This shift damaged its credibility, weakened its alliances, and made many countries question whether the United States could still be relied upon. And as America lost this trust, India began gaining it. Today, the global shift of trust is moving toward India, and that is what will propel it into becoming a global power. The world is no longer willing to follow a one-sided leadership model. Nations are tired of being told what to do, of being pressured into choices that serve American interests above their own. America's mistake was assuming that its dominance gave it the right to dictate terms. But times have changed. The New World Order demands respect, cooperation, and balance. India has understood this perfectly. It does not present itself as a master, but as a collaborator. It does not force, it persuades, does not demand, it earns. That is why countries across Asia, Africa, and even Europe are increasingly turning to India as a trusted partner. Consider how America has handled its alliances in recent years. Too often, it has treated them as transactions. Military bases, trade deals, or political agreements have been framed in terms of what benefits the United States first. But when a nation acts purely out of self-interest, It weakens the foundation of trust. India, on the other hand, is building relationships based on mutual growth. Whether it is through South-South cooperation, development assistance in Africa, or balanced diplomacy between East and West, India is showing that its rise is not about domination but partnership. That makes it far more attractive in the long run. The pandemic highlighted this difference in approach. When the world was in crisis, America was criticized for hoarding vaccines and protecting only its own population. India, despite its own challenges, launched a vaccine matrix and supplied millions of doses to poorer nations. That act of generosity built enormous goodwill and trust. Small countries remembered who stood by them in their time of need, and that memory is far stronger than any speech or military show of power. America's mistake was focusing inward, while India looked outward. That difference in perspective is reshaping global trust. Trust is also about consistency. America's foreign policy has often shifted dramatically depending on who is in power. Allies struggle to know whether America will stand with them tomorrow the same way it stands today. India, by contrast, has presented a consistent vision: peaceful rise, balanced diplomacy, and respect for sovereignty. Nations find stability in India's approach, and stability builds long-term trust. Another important factor is moral credibility. America once held the image of being a champion of democracy and human rights. But its own actions, wars, interventions, double standards, have eroded that moral authority. Countries question whether America truly practices what it preaches. India, despite its own internal challenges, has positioned itself as a voice for fairness on the global stage. Whether it is climate change, trade, or multilateralism, India argues for equity and justice. That moral stance is attractive to nations that have long felt sidelined by American dominance. The shift of trust is not a small change. It is a massive realignment of how the world sees leadership. America assumed trust was permanent, but it is not. Trust must be earned every single day through actions, not words. India is doing exactly that. With every partnership it builds, every crisis it responds to, every balanced position it takes, India is becoming the reliable power the world is looking for. This is why America's mistake in losing global trust is India's biggest opportunity. Nations no longer want a leader who stands above them. They want one who stands with them. America forgot this. India embraced it. And as trust continues to shift, India's place as a global power becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Resilience and determination are the ultimate qualities that separate those who rise from those who fall. America's greatest mistake has been to underestimate the power of these qualities in India. For decades, America believed that wealth, technology, and military might alone define global leadership. But history shows that the true test of a nation is how it responds to struggle, how it endures setbacks, and how it keeps moving forward when the odds are against it. America has grown used to privilege, to success, to comfort. India, on the other hand, has grown through struggle, hardship, and constant challenges. That resilience has built a determination that is unbreakable. And it is this force that will make India the next global power. Resilience is forged in fire. India's history is filled with battles against poverty, colonial rule, inequality, and external pressures. For decades after independence, it was labeled as a developing country, struggling to feed its people and stabilize its economy. But instead of giving up, India persisted. Every setback became fuel for progress. Famines gave rise to the Green Revolution. Economic isolation gave way to liberalization in the 1990s. Dependence on foreign technology evolved into indigenous innovation. This relentless determination to rise despite the odds is something America has forgotten, but India has mastered. America's mistake is assuming that resilience is not necessary for a superpower. Because it has lived in comfort for too long, it has lost touch with the spirit of endurance. When crises hit, America struggles with division and blame games. But when India faces a crisis, it unites, adapts, and finds a way forward. That difference in mindset is crucial. It shows which nation is prepared for the unpredictable challenges of the future. Look at how India handled the COVID-19 pandemic. While America, with all its wealth and resources, faced enormous struggles, India, despite its population size and limited infrastructure, managed not only to protect its people, but also to support other nations. That kind of resilience is what wins trust and respect globally. It proves that India can handle adversity while still thinking of others, something America has increasingly failed to demonstrate. Determination is also visible in India's long-term vision. America has often been reactive, focusing on immediate gains or short-term victories. India, however, thinks in decades. Its investments in space, renewable energy, digital infrastructure, and education are not just about today. They are about building strength for generations to come. This determination to plan, prepare, and build patiently is what creates lasting power. America's mistake is impatience. India's advantage is persistence. Resilience also comes from the spirit of the people. Indians are used to fighting for opportunities, competing in tough environments, and creating solutions out of limited resources. This builds not just survival skills but leadership skills. When a population is trained by hardship to never give up, that nation becomes unstoppable. America's people, while once known for their grit, are now more focused on convenience and comfort. That shift weakens determination. India's people, however, are still driven by hunger, by the desire to achieve more, to prove themselves, to make their nation proud. That collective determination is a force no rival can ignore. The world respects nations that rise from adversity. America once earned respect this way after the Great Depression and World War II, but now it is India's turn. Every challenge it faces, be it economic inequality, climate issues, or geopolitical pressures, only sharpens its will to overcome. Resilience and determination are not temporary advantages. They are permanent strengths that multiply over time. So when we ask what will make India a global power, the answer is clear. It is not just its size, its economy, or its technology. It is its resilience, the ability to stand tall no matter how hard it is hit. It is its determination, the refusal to give up, the discipline to keep working until the goal is achieved. America made the mistake of thinking these qualities were no longer necessary. India embraced them as the foundation of its rise, and that is why the future belongs to India.